This slide is a little bit, I guess, strained from the scope of today's topic, but we did want to let you know that integrating DTC with Primavera is straightforward, but we can also map it quite easily back to the financial system. And we were just recently at the Construction Owner Association of Alberta's Work-Face Planning Conference, and we're certainly well aware of the requirements to map the work-face planning structure into the schedules as well, and that's something that DTC is quite capable of handling. So I wanted to put things into perspective, because when we say that we integrate with Primavera, that's a fairly broad statement, and Primavera has a lot of different product offerings, and so our experience is that the primary product that people are using within the construction industry is the P6 Professional Project Management application, and that's what we're going to be focusing our discussion on today. We can certainly integrate with some of the other Primavera products that are out there, but again, it seems to be that the Professional Project Management application is the standard for the industrial construction industry. So with that, we're going to ask another quick survey question. Which of the Primavera products do you use? And it's really an all or nothing type question. It's the P6 Project Management or other. And if you're not quite sure, that's okay. Okay, so we've got about 63% of the people with the project with P6 project management. The other question that we'd like to ask at this time is: do you run the Primavera in a central server model or in the standalone model? Because again, integrating with them is a little bit different depending on how you have it configured and installed internally. Good. It looks like 67% of the folks have the central server installed, which is really good, and 33% have the standalone, which is it's not a bad thing. It's a little more difficult in some respects to integrate with, and we'll cover that here shortly. So again, before we dive into the details, just to put things into perspective, Primavera has multiple integration options. There is a API for Primavera for P6 Enterprise. There is web services is another mechanism to connect to Primavera. They do have software development kits as well, so you can even write some code essentially to integrate with Primavera. And there is the traditional flat file integration approach. Within each of the sections, there are sort of multiple approaches that can be taken to implement Primavera and DTC, and we'll cover those off. But again, if you have any questions, nobody's posed any questions so far, but if you have any questions on the technical side, please don't hesitate to let me know. So yeah, let's we'll deal with that. We have a question, but that one's I think appropriate for the end. So our next slide, we're just going to delve into a little detail on the integrations. So the first one is the API for Primavera. The overall description is: it leverages business rules to extend data and functionality from Primavera to other enterprise applications. Features are scalable, security, performance is good, support is simple for standalone applications through complex remote integrations, and supports simple standalone applications through complex remote integrations. integrates with large complex data sets, provides high performance and real-time application integration, and offers proven integrations with work, order, financial, and ERP type systems, and DTC would definitely fall into that category. So when touched on it quickly, but the API will leverage the business rules. So from an integration perspective, digital time capture is a commercial enterprise application, and we're very leery. In fact, we will not do any direct database integrations either with our application or other applications. We can't guarantee data integrity if you go sort of through the back door directly to the database. So we always prefer the API type approach, where we're leveraging the business rules that can exist in Primavera and in DTC, and ensure that the data that's stored in those systems passes all of the data integrity steps of the business logic that's built within the applications. The other point I just wanted to reiterate was, again, if you're one of the 33% of companies that has Primavera in the standalone type environments, the API definitely supports integrating with those, but the integration becomes a little more complex because you're going to have people out in the field with laptops that may or may not be connected. They may have updated their schedule. They may not have updated their schedule. So it becomes a little trickier in that environment. So with that, we'll pop into the web services. Excuse me. So again, the description on the web services is just extends data functionality from Primavera to other enterprise applications. So similar to API, again, we would typically employ the API approach through web services to ensure that we're following the business logic within Primavera. And then some of the features are integrates Java and .NET based applications, integrates with composite applications, and offers ease of use by working through many middleware integration tools. So we typically go direct Primavera to DTC and DTC back to Primavera, but there are middleware type technologies out there that can be the go-between if that's your particular preference. The SDK, or Software Development Kit, provides straightforward integrations, including loading global data for conversion purposes. It's not quite as robust as far as communicating real-time on an ongoing basis, but the features include facilitates reporting within the projects, activity or assignment of spreadsheet data, and connection to the project management database via ODBC or OLEDB. And again, those are sometimes going directly to the database, which we typically will not do. Offers a utility tool to perfect for small data sets. So again, if you're maybe a smaller organization and you're just trying to load excuse me, cost codes into DTC or hours one time into Primavera, then the SDK is going to be a little less expensive and easier to deploy. The last one is the flat file type integration, which I assume probably most people are familiar with. Both Primavera and DTC have the ability to export data to an Excel file or CSV or even XML, and then you can bring them in. Typically, again, similar to the SDK approach, we see that on a one-time basis. If you're developed a project schedule and you want to do a one-time load of a WBS into DTC, you might excuse me, export it from Primavera and import it into DTC or vice versa. It's not certainly not something that we would necessarily recommend for a real-time ongoing integration approach. The reason I wanted to step through each of the different types of integrations was just to ensure that everybody understands that it's entirely up to each organization to decide which type of integration is right for you. And the process should really drive the integration. It should not be the technology that dictates how you integrate your systems. You can always start with a basic flat file integration to test out a process. Again, it's really inexpensive, a quick approach to take to just validate or verify whether loading the WBS from Primavera into DTC makes sense, and that it's easy to get the hours out of DTC back into Primavera in a meaningful manner. And then once you've vetted that process, or you get comfortable that the systems can work together, you can start to build a more automated, integrated integration process.